Close your eyes for a second. I want you to think about one student right now. One student who may be missing class right now. One student who may be disconnected and disengaged right now. Visualize that student. That one student, 5 years from now. Where do you see that student? Where do you see them? Are they forgotten? Are they abandoned? Are they thriving? Think about that student. Go ahead and open your eyes, people. I know that student. I was that student. Right? I was that student. And today, we're going to talk about how you have the opportunity to be the difference in that student's life. Right? As we go through today's presentation, we're going to share the journey behind this cape. We're going to have some group discussions, some table discussions, activities. We're also going to have a moment to have some self-reflection. And last but not least, we're going to leave with a dynamic poem titled Academic Grind. All right? Now, I know you all see me today as Empowerman, but like many of you, I'll be the first to tell you that I do not look like what I've been through. If you're ready to get the show rolling, let me hear you say, where you from?
Where you from?
I'm originally from Lufkin, Texas. I've never met my father. My mother resorted to alcohol and drugs to provide her balance. I was introduced to 8 different step-parents by the time I was in the 8th grade. 2 being white men, 1 being a Hispanic man, 1 being a woman. Also moved 2 to 3 times every year of my life up until college. So I never really had a foundation. But this is where it all started for me, 5th grade. This was the year that my mom, my brother, and I lived with my aunt, her 3 kids, and her boyfriend. 8 people living in this 2-bedroom house. We didn't have any gas, which meant we didn't have any hot water. We couldn't take a hot bath. We also, since we didn't have gas, we couldn't use the stove, so we had to use hot skillets and crock pots. During this time, my cousins, they were actually gang affiliated. So I was exposed to the gang life a lot earlier than most students. Now moving to middle school, 7th grade was a year that I vividly remember. This is a year that I remember the teacher coming in and asking everyone to share what it is that you want to do when you graduate high school. Now you had some students mention doctors, want to be a lawyer, want to go to the NBA, the NFL. I actually told the class that I wanted to drop out of school in the 10th grade. Mainly because the people who were in my life, the people who were taking care of me, the people who I looked up to, that's exactly what they did. So I just automatically assumed I was supposed to become a part of that cycle. Moving to high school, 10th grade, I made it. But this was a year that my mom decided she wanted to move to Wichita Falls. And as I shared with you all, we moved every year. I mean, 2 times, 3 times. It was crazy. But by the 10th grade, I realized that we were poor. I didn't know I was labeled economically disadvantaged at that time, but I knew we were poor. On so many occasions, I had to start the school year with hand-me-downs. Anybody here know about hand-me-downs? Raise your hand if you know about hand-me-downs. Yeah, right? And on so many occasions, my mom would take us school shopping to put clothes on layaway, only for us to never see them again. So I knew when I turned 15, I was gonna get my own job so I could support myself, support my mom, but I didn't have to worry about being laughed at because I'm starting the school year with holes in my shoes, right? And so that's exactly what I did. So when my mom decided she wanted to move to Wichita Falls, I told her I didn't want to go. So I went to school, paid someone $5 to drop me off at work, and then I would have to walk home from work sometimes, but that grit, I ended up learning about saving, budgeting, bought my own first car by the end of my sophomore year. So when she said she didn't want to go, where she wanted to go. I didn't go. I came home, my mother and my brother, they were gone. My little brother, he left a note on my dresser that said, I love you, and I'll see you when I see you. And from that point on, I was introduced to the streets hands-on. I ended up living with a friend for 6 months. Lived with another friend for 6 months. Interesting enough, his dad didn't even know I was living there. I would wait till the end of the night and drive my car around the back of the house and sneak in through the window. And I did that intentionally because he was gonna try to charge me some rent. Right? But then I moved in with my grandparents for 6 months. Then I also moved in with an aunt. Now this aunt, she wasn't my blood aunt, but this was someone who I looked up to, and many people in her family had went to college and were successful. But most importantly, there was a counselor at school who saw something in me that I didn't. And she had me completing the FAFSA, completing the applications, and I applied to all of these colleges. One school accepted me, and that was Prairie View A&M University. But I'm so thankful that they did, but because I didn't have a vision for life after high school, when I got to Prairie View, I got a little bit worse. I began to engage with those same students who was like me, lost, right, displaced. Didn't know our why, didn't know our purpose for being there. The first 3-4 years, I was engaging in a lifestyle, not realizing that I didn't even know I was coming to college. I didn't have a vision for life after college. The people who love me the most, they're asking me, Sterling, when you gonna graduate? I'm like, graduate? I hadn't even thought about it. But at that time, I was faced with that decision. Either I'm going to have to learn how to become a student, or I'm going to have to become another statistic like my other friends did and drop out. And I knew if I wanted to become a student, I had to first of all face my own reality. I never met my father. I lacked discipline. I lacked stability. I knew I needed personal and professional development. As I looked around, there was a group of young men. They were a part of an organization named Collegiate 100. They were about 3 years younger than me. They're dressing in suits. They're going to conferences. They're graduating in 4 years with jobs, $80,000, $90,000 offers. And I'm just like, wait a minute. These young men are 3 years younger than me. How do they know how to navigate college like this? Long story short, I joined that organization. Those young men taught me how to dress. They taught me the power of my GPA. They connected my academics and made it relevant to why I need to be chasing it, right? How I could use my GPA to get to conferences, how it really didn't take money, it just took sacrifice. And shortly after joining the organization, guess what? I graduated. Y'all give me a hand, I graduated. All right, now my joy for graduating lasted as long as your clap. When I left this picture, it was a Saturday. It's like, okay, wait a minute. Saturday, I gotta be out of my place by Wednesday. I don't have anywhere to go. Not to mention, I took 6 years to get a 4-year degree. I built extra debt. Icing on the cake, graduated unemployed. So I felt like I was in a worse position than I was before. And now I was back faced with that same decision again. Either I'm going to be okay with being underemployed, or I could use the knowledge and information that I just learned and the resources that I have to go back to school, and this time around begin with the end in mind, right? And really utilize my GPA to navigate me. It's for unforeseen experiences, and that's what I did. So I went back, became the first intern for the Office of the President in Prairie View, co-founded a male mentorship program named Men Achieving Leadership Excellence. Because of this position, I realized that, you know what, I can't no longer hang out with those friends who were, walking around, drinking, doing whatever. Many of them were no longer in school. They was just scared to go home and face the facts, to tell their family the truth that they had dropped out. But they're still walking around campus with backpacks on like they're enrolled. So I had to let them go. And for many youth, it's hard to come to that realization that we grow apart from people, right? Sometimes even our own families. And so that's what I had to do. And I started hanging with people who I knew had career aspirations and goals. Because of that, I was provided an opportunity. And they said, okay, we got an opportunity for you, but you have to have a 3.0 GPA, and you have to go through an interview process. And I did. Because of that, they sent me to the White House Initiative on HBCUs. I had never flown before. First time ever flying, first time ever in DC. This was so impactful for me because here I am, a kid from Lufkin, and I didn't have to pay for my flights. I didn't have to pay for my hotel. They put me in a 5-star hotel for 4 nights. The first time I learned about, y'all gonna learn this, love this word, per diem. Right? First time. And so it was a special, very special moment. When I got back to Houston, I told my roommate, I don't know how, but I have to get back to DC. And 3 months later, I went to a career fair. Again, in undergraduate, I didn't know anything about, I wasn't connecting the resource. I didn't see it. It just wasn't making sense to me. But I went to this career fair, and there was a banner that said Thurgood Marshall Leadership Conference. I didn't know what it was. I signed up. The lady told me I had an interview at 3 o'clock today. Showed up. She said in order to participate, you have to have a 3.0 GPA. You have to pass through this interview process and show us you have leadership skills. And again, because I started, begin with the end in mind, keeping that GPA above a 3.0, I didn't know what opportunities were gonna come, but I know I was gonna check off the requirements. If 3.0 GPA was a requirement, I was gonna have that checked off already. And so I did, and I got selected to go. They flew me to DC again, put me in a 5-star hotel again. I was able to meet all these dynamic people, but most importantly, they were having a career fair in DC, where they were bringing over 100 Fortune 500 companies that are hiring the students that were selected. And I left that conference with 3 job offers. I would love to say, let's clap it up, but my transition into corporate America wasn't smooth. It was my first introduction into corporate politics. It was my first introduction into unconscious bias. It was my first introduction into imposter syndrome, all of these things, right? And so, truth be told, I've worked for multiple companies, Fortune 500, nonprofits, but all of those experiences led me back to provide the next generation of leaders with the platform that I wished I had to help me at my age. And so, since creating Sterling Empowerment, I've been able to impact over 50,000 youth through mentoring, through books, through programs, through speaking. And it's been such a blessing. I didn't create Sterling Empowerment because I had superpowers, right? No. I created it because I made it my mission to help students discover their own powers, right? And you all in this room have that ability as well. Take a look at on your table. There's a bag. Let's get the. Let me know if you need a bag. If you don't have a bag, grab a bag. I'm trying to hold it up. Grab it. There's real purpose in this. This rock represents that student who was born into situations that they couldn't control. They may be living in a situation where they're unstable. They may be missing class. They may be just trying to survive, right? But they can't control anything around them because it wasn't their fault. This represents that student. The second rock, let's pull the smooth, colorful rock. Some may be colorful, smooth, really polished. This rock represents what can happen to a student when they receive mentorship and support. We all, at some point of our life, needed someone there to smooth us out a little bit. And this was the result of that. Now, this last one, let's pull out those gemstones. This gemstone, this is what happens when you not only provide the mentorship, consistent support, but this is when you stick with that student and you see them through. All of you, that student you were just thinking about, you have that ability to transform that student from a rock to a gemstone. and you have that ability. All right? So, thank y'all for participating in that. Now, many of our students are disengaged, and I'm sure you're wondering why. Truth be told, many students are they're not disengaged because it's fun for them, right? No, many of them are having to choose between survival or school. Some of our students are living through poverty, right? They're living peer pressure, mental health, right? Lack of resources, connection, and clout culture. By show of hands, how many people know what the word clout means? Okay, and if you don't, it's okay. I'm gonna get you there today. Clout. This is a negative term often utilized for someone who is trying to do whatever they can to become popular or famous. So this can happen through social media, chasing social media likes. This could happen through just trying to stir up drama. This could happen when they're just trying to be around that one person who they feel like is popular and they just want to be around. So they're doing whatever they can to get clout, just hanging around that person. So clout can come in many forms. So we're gonna have a table activity, all right? So you have worksheets at your tables. At the top, activity number 1, I want you to think about so look at these as villains, right? Because these are things that our students face, and sometimes we have to jump in and face these for our students. So I want you to write down a few of the villains that your students are facing daily. All right? So let's do that first. And after you do that, I want you all to see the superhero that's on your table. I want you all to have a group discussion at your table to identify which are the most consistent that you have with your table. And let's write down the top 3 on the front of your hero. So that'll be the group activity. I'll set to 3. What is it that I was Can I get one table to volunteer to share some of their most common? Okay, we got one volunteer here.
As truancy officers and as a campus support specialist, a lot of our students are disengaged because of anxiety, depression, and their anxiety can be social anxiety. It could be there's just a variation of contributing factors to their anxiety. So it's hard to get the help, and then a lot of them don't want to speak up because they don't want to label. So that makes it difficult.
Give her a round of applause, y'all. Thank you so much. Now, speaking from experience, when I was in school, I didn't understand the importance of how homework correlates to test correlates to quizzes, homework to quiz to test to star, whatever it may be, right? But once I learned the power of all those things and how it can navigate my GPA and how that can actually get me money or to go to college or trade school or scholarships, like it made more sense and it made learning more purposeful, right? 3, resources and support. Sometimes we have to provide resources and support beyond the classroom. If that's transportation, right? Some of our students, they like she said, some of them do not want to speak up because many times they spoke up and someone shut them down. And now they're scared to speak up again, right? So sometimes we gotta provide resources beyond the classroom, and even if that's mean giving a call to your old buddy who can help them get into that trade school, if that's helping them with their resume, helping them understand what transferable skills are, whatever that may be, we have to provide the resources and support. And last but not least, we have to have empathy. right? We have to have understanding, and we have to know what it feels like to be in these students' shoes. Everyone in here has a story, right? We all have lived, we all have experiences, and sometimes we have to be vulnerable with our students and share some of the things that we've been through. Many times our students see this finished product. They see that gemstone that you are now, but they didn't know that you used to be that raw rock, right? They didn't know. So sometimes we got to have empathy and let them know where we truly come from, right? Now, with that being said, this is our last activity that you have already on your paper. So I want you to take a moment to self-reflect right now, right? What are you currently doing now that isn't working? What is one small change that you can make today? And last but not least, who is one student that you can commit to helping? We'll take 2 minutes. What is one thing that you're doing that's not working? And we've all been there, right? We've all been there, pouring our heart into a student, and it's, for some reason, it's just not clicking. What is that for you? On your shoulders. So put that student's name, write that student's name, and think about them, put them in the back of your hero. You can put more than one, yes. The more the merrier.
I'm gonna put 3,742.
A better world, right? Right here in this room, right now. All right? So, as I come to a close, I want to do one thing. I want you to hold up that gemstone. Because truth, if you was to ask them, do you want to be a gemstone? Every one of them would say yes. But they are unaware of the barriers that they face and how to navigate them. All right, so I want you to think about that student, keep them in your mind, and I just want you to repeat after me. I can.
I can.
I will.
I will.
I must.
I must.
Let's do it one more time. Think about this student. Visualize that student. Because it's up to you. You have the power. I can.
I can.
I will.
I will.
I must.
I must.
All right, thank you. I'll give yourselves a round of applause. Academic grind. Let's snap it up. All right, all right, all right. My people, I really need your attention. Not to look at Instagram or Snapchat, but there's a critical issue regarding our retention. I need you right now because I don't want it to be too late. Not only is there an issue with our retention, but we have staggeringly low graduation rates. There seems to be a disconnect making the collegiate transition, and it's causing us to waste so much time. If only we knew how to seek the knowledge that was needed and begin with the end in mind. You see, we live in an era now where people love to give social media their all. Completely blind to the fact that a picture or a post could be your career downfall. It's time to regain our focus and take complete control of our lives. I need you to instill true grit within yourselves and make sure you understand the whys. Like, why are you here? And who are depending on you to succeed? With that understanding, you can build a better future for your family and create an empire for your seeds. So look deep inside yourself. You'll find your purpose within your passion. And purpose combined with passion will make your relevance everlasting. And as you gradually take steps forward to position yourself for greatness, understand there will be roadblocks ahead. But it is then when you can recollect this information. Because as we all know, information, that changes situations. And knowledge is the new money, so it's imperative to have a higher education. So get it together right now, my people, and get on your academic grind. Tomorrow is never promised. So right now is the time. Thank you.
Empowerman. Now, when y'all see it somewhere else, y'all need to call it sturdy.